This is a Galactic Network podcast.
The Podcast of Terror is a great podcast. It's covering movies that are not for children, and thus this podcast is not for children. The hosts are two adults who will use bad words from time to time. They'll also spoil movies if that's not your thing. So if you don't like spoilers and you don't want to hear some dirty language or some dirty references to dirty parts of your body, then please, please, please wash your body parts better and do not listen to this show. If you can handle it, and I hope you can because there's a great podcast coming up, then please proceed with Podcast of Terror.
Burn and fire, burn the fire. Burn and fire, burn the fire.
Well, it doesn't work anymore because now you're sliding into DMs.
Yeah.
And no one cares.
Much like Depeche Mode.
Yeah. So we had a week off. How are you?
I'm okay. It's been a weird weekend. Aaron got diagnosed with fibromyalgia on Friday.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yep.
That's
going to be an adjustment, but she's been dealing with it for the last several years. She just never had somebody who would go so far as to say, "Oh yeah, I believe that you actually have a problem."
Yeah.
And let's figure out what it is.
So I guess what are the symptoms? Like, how does she know?
It's a weird one, and I feel like it's almost in some ways a catch-all for the fact of we don't listen to women. Because it's 80 to 90% of the people who are affected by it are women.
Okay.
There's not a way to diagnose it so much as there is a way to diagnose what you don't have. And certain tests will come up as false positives. And it's a process of elimination to try to figure out, oh, no, but it's not actually that. It's really this thing. And there's no way of knowing where it comes from yet, although certain things like traumas. Erin had her gallbladder taken out, and it was a double operation. She had her gallbladder taken out and a growth internally taken out at the same time on my 40th birthday.
God damn.
And then when she got out of the hospital and she was recovering, she went back to work too soon, got pneumonia, so had to go and take more time off. And of course, her work was like, "You're just full of shit." And it's kind of like with my achalasia. Like, I think I got my achalasia because I had a really bad cough and I coughed myself into a small hernia.
Okay.
And I think that might have caused some of the problems with my throat, but I don't know for sure. And again, don't know where it comes from. But it was weird that my best friend and I were both affected by it at the same time. Fibromyalgia, really common. Like in the sense that I know a lot of women who've had their gallbladder taken out. I also know a lot of women that have fibromyalgia or very similar things and suffer a lot of the same effects, or have fibromyalgia on top of some other stuff. And again, it's one of those things that is now very, very talked about. For a long time, it wasn't known, but I think it's because people just didn't give a shit to know.
Yeah.
It's like how we have a lot of kids who have autism, but for years and years, it's not like there weren't kids who had autism. It's just that they got institutionalized or they got whipped. They got beat by their parents and just pay more fucking attention. It's in many ways, we still deal with what is similar to a primitive culture when it comes to modern medicine. And I think in America, especially, it's because modern medicine is still a for-profit kind of deal. Mm-hmm. And so we'll run 1 billion tests, but not actually care about what you're doing. And then we'll just stampede you in and stampede you out. If you're lucky, you're in a place that has good doctors and everything. And Aaron got really lucky. The medical facilities in the town here seem to give a crap. They've helped my mom a lot. She just had her knee replaced about a month and a half ago, and her recovery has gone immensely great. And that's after her accident a couple years ago when she first moved here. and she had to be in recovery for months. So it's unfortunate to say that Erin having this, we're lucky.
Yeah.
She's lucky. They've started her on some medication, which is mostly to help her sleep because she doesn't have restful sleep.
Okay.
She's exhausted. She's in pain a lot of the time, and it's good days and bad days, and it's regulating what is a good day and what's a bad day. And there's a long list of things that will spark the symptoms, and it's unfortunately all stuff that we like caffeine, and she loves her coffees, and her Diet Cokes. And I was just with the last couple of weeks, I was saying, maybe it's time that we wean you off the Diet Coke, because that's a terrible thing in a lot of ways.
So I love diet soda, but when I stopped drinking it, like eventually I don't really, like once in a while I'll have one, but it's not like every day where like I go out to lunch and I'm like, gotta get a Diet Coke. Like eventually you'll just stop wanting it. But coffee I really like the taste of coffee. It has nothing to do with the caffeine. So I can't even be like, just drink decaf, because I think decaf does taste like shit.
And that's really true, is that she enjoys the act of going to get her coffee.
Yeah.
But it's an addiction in the same way that she enjoys getting up and having her cigarette the first thing in the morning, and smoking is another thing that's going to have to stop.
I was going to say, I bet that's got to stop too.
A lot of stuff does, and it's going to affect the both of us, because there's going to be things that I'm used to just eating crap and having that around the house. And always, like, I go shopping and I get her treats and stuff, because that's how I make myself feel happy. And I figure, I'll bring Erin donuts. She likes her powdered donuts.
Yep.
And that's going to have to change. And then I'm not going to be able to have that stuff around the house myself.
Yeah. I mean, it's a change, but it's obvious. I mean, in the long run, it'll be better for both of you. You know what I mean? And it sucks, and it's going to be a pain in the ass, but I think you guys will both be happier in the long run.
Well, I had my first Impossible Burger last week.
From Burger King?
We went out to eat. No, not from Burger King. Because I really have done as much as I can to not eat fast food since moving out here. It's
fair enough.
It's literally been like, I've been to McDonald's probably less than 5 times, like for myself to actually get food that I'm eating.
Yeah.
Less than 5 times in the year that we've been here. And beyond McDonald's, I've gone to Arby's a few times, because Arby's is still kind of a special thing for me.
Yeah.
But between the two of them, less than 15 times. 2 trips to Taco Bell. In a year's time, which I used to live off of McDonald's at my last job for my lunches because of the dollar menu. It's a huge change, but it's not like I'm eating good. I'm just not eating fast food.
Right. So real quick before, because I do want to talk to you about these Impossible Burgers. When you were talking about the healthcare industry and how they never really cure you, it reminded me there's a song by the band Let Live called White America's Beautiful Black Market. Let that sink in. But there's a line, and it says, they say get sick, then feel better. Be sure that they will never cure you. You're worth so much more diseased.
Huh.
And I fucking work in that field. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I work for a company that makes devices for health and stuff, and pushes wellness very much a lot. In our cafeterias, they do meals that are very reasonably priced. They're not always the greatest things in the world, and we go out to eat a lot more because we want to get the fuck out of there.
Right.
But they do a good job. Like, I've gone from getting up in the morning and eating like their breakfast stuff, which is like your hash browns, your eggs and things like that. And part of this is cost. It's because I'm very poor. I went from that to eating yogurt and granola parfaits that I would make there. And literally, these were like $3, but it's a good amount of yogurt and good granola and some fresh fruit that I put in there.
Yeah.
And now I'm just eating a goddamn bowl of oatmeal every morning, which is $1. So again, it's part of it is because I'm poor, but also I'm trying to do better in the things. And the woman who works at the counter is like, notice she sees me eyeball. They've got these cheesy tots, so they're like little mini hash brown bites. And they're filled with cheese, and they're just fantastic. Such a happiness in a little bite, and you can fill a whole plate with those and be happy.
Sorry, if you're not watching this, I just licked the side of a beer can, to which our friend Mike said, "Lick that can," and yeah.
I thought he was talking about about something else entirely.
No. Yeah, we have a cafeteria at work, so like on the last day of the work week, where myself and 2 coworkers are there, we always go get a breakfast burrito. Otherwise, I just take Greek yogurt and a scoop of protein powder, and that's what I eat for breakfast every day.
Yeah, and I'm it's really hard for me to make the adjustment to eating better because I'm not a person who's ever leaned towards eating vegetables, or the vegetables that I like are like the really poor ones like corn and.
But you know what you could do is instead of like, because I know friend of the show Seth Wolf, he doesn't care for broccoli and green vegetables, so he just takes powdered greens every day.
Yeah, and there is that, but I need the fiber too.
That's a really good point. I love fiber. End of story. I like taking big meaty dumps.
Yeah. No, and I
feel like
I
a new
definitely.
man.
I'm taking a prebiotic probiotic gummy.
Yeah, that'll help.
I was taking some fiber pills, and it was like you're supposed to take 5 of them at a time, 4 times a day, and that was a bit much.
Christ.
Yeah.
Fiber One is banned in my house because of what it
Okay.
does to me.
Because it does your septic system,
Yeah.
your literal septic system.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I take it's a probiotic gummy that Meyer had a brand, and then they were out the last time, so I got some name brand thing. But I'm taking that. I take my multivitamin. I take my daily allergy pill, and I have oatmeal, and it's still like it's fighting a losing battle on me.
Yeah, but
And
I mean,
then
it's not. You're not going to just like take pills one day and wake up the next day and be like, "We're fucking good now."
Yeah, but it's better. I noticed with the yogurt and stuff too. It was doing things that were making things a little bit better,
Yep.
and
Yep.
and just that I'm eating in the morning and not waiting until lunch and totally
Yep.
Binging is helpful. The Impossible Burger. So
Yes.
there's this restaurant called Hank's Tavern, or it's also called another name, which is very confusing. We tried to meet my parents there. Cute little place right on a river in this town. Everything's on a river or lake. And we've been going there a few times, and we've gotten a few things. And they've got cheese curds. They've got
Fried or fresh?
your own-
'Cause I'm from,
yeah.
You know.
They've got build your own mac and cheese. They've got a bunch of different like great appetizers on there. But they do have an Impossible Burger. And on their list of burgers, they've got all these different kinds. They're all very specialty and stuff. And then it just gets to Impossible Burger, and it's just like a fucking burger, except it's vegetables, and it costs a little bit more. So it's not decorated up like you get a Western burger and you got your barbecue sauce and your bacon and all this other shit. This obviously they don't do that with this.
But
it's just like
would-
you're getting this instead of.
Would they let you substitute one of their dressed up burgers with an Impossible Patty?
I haven't asked yet, but this
Okay.
is the first time that I'd had it. We went with my parents, and I'm just like, I've been wanting to do this. I've been wanting to try it out just to see if I can not eliminate meat from my diet,
Yeah.
but find occasions to not have it, and especially not red meat. So when I've been making sloppy joes at home,
Mhm.
I've been getting ground turkey as opposed to ground beef when I do that.
Yeah.
I might switch to ground chicken or something like that for tacos, because I do love to make tacos.
Yep.
If I can just bring it back a little bit, because it's really easy, especially here. Every restaurant is a burger place. Like every restaurant has burgers on the menu, and usually breakfast and your lunch menu is burgers.
Yeah.
And it's real easy to just get a burger because it's basic. You know it. You can dress it how you want, but you just feel comfortable having it. You don't feel comfortable having had it. And it's a little too much of that. And when my dad and mom came out to visit us in California, Dad had a burger everywhere he went. And I don't see Dad eating as many burgers now. And I'm realizing, oh, Dad's ahead of the game. Dad knows.
Yeah.
He's got some years on me.
Yeah.
So it took him a while to get to that decision. But still, so I'm trying to make adjustments. But I had that Impossible Burger, and Erin took a bite of it, and she's like, well, it's nothing special. I'm like, yeah, it's nothing special. It tastes like a burger, though, right? She goes, well, yeah. I said, then that's all I need.
Yeah, exactly. So on Thursday, I went to Chicago with two friends. We went to, Schaumburg. And we went to Kuma's, the metal burger place. And so my friend Jake hadn't been there since he started eating meat again. So he literally just, like you said, I just want a burger. Just give me a fucking baseline. And I was over there getting like the fucking weird thing. It had a brat and apple chutney and all this shit. But I just get it without a bun because I eat like deep fried jalapeno poppers to start. So, and people always look at me and they're like, well, what the fuck are you doing? I said, it's just, dude, it's picking your battles. Like,
Yeah.
I'm going to have 2 lunch beers and these jalapeno poppers, so I'm not going to get a big-ass bun. And then I get a side salad. Pick your battles. And it's not like you can't eat any of it ever again. You just need to decide where and when you want it and how you're gonna ingest it.
Yeah, my favorite sandwich from this place called Ike's back in California was called the Deep Throat, and it was ham, bacon,
I was deep
extra
throating for
dirty
you.
sauce, mozzarella sticks.
Just trying to deep throat a dick for you.
Yeah, you were. But mozzarella sticks on a sandwich is a goddamn delight. And I keep trying to find places that put mozzarella sticks on burgers. The closest I've got is that for a while at Mr. B's, they were selling fried cheese curds. And I was getting those as my side and then putting those on the burger. And it's just wonderful.
Dude, one thing you can do, there's a place in Wisconsin called Milwaukee Burger Company. They have their cheese curds are like inch by inch cubes. They're fucking massive, but they have a cheeseburger with those on them. But, excuse me, one thing I found you can do is if it's on the menu, just ask.
Oh, yeah.
So,
absolutely.
I always feel like I feel like a dick doing it, but I'm always like, I'm not like asking them to go down the street to get me something that they don't already have.
No, I worked with this guy, Tom, and Tom was always like, well, they have all the ingredients. They can make this. I'm like, fuck you. They can make this. Sure. But that's not their fucking jobs is to create a special menu for it. But I've ordered off menu before. When I used to go to Bayside all the time, they had stuff on the menu before, and then it went off the menu, and I was like, well, can you still make that? Because I really love that thing. And like, yeah, we've got all the stuff. I'm like, that's great. But I would always be very accepting of, like, if you balk at it at all, I'm fine. I can find something else to eat. And
that's a really good point, and I think it generally helps if you're very, like, understanding and be like, dude, I understand I'm asking you to do something a little left field, but, like, work with me here. Yeah. Like, I went to a bar here for I got tacos with some coworkers, and I said, look, like, I want these tacos, but I said, but can you literally just bring me a hamburger patty? And she just stared at me. I said, just grill a hamburger, put it on a fucking plate, and charge me however you want.
Yep. I
said, I just want the extra meat.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay. And they found a way to do it. And my coworkers looked at me weird, and I said, yeah, well, you know what? I can bench press all of you.
Yeah, if you're at a big restaurant, the person who's waiting on you may not know how to make that happen. But they can ask somebody. And if they're just uncomfortable with it and you realize, okay, I blew your mind by asking for something that is not what you're prepared for. I'm just going to go ahead and get this other thing that I looked at. You always have a backup. Like,
right.
Plenty of times I go there and it's, we're out of that thing tonight. Well, that's fine. I already got something in mind that I was probably going to choose from anyways. And so that's what I'll go to next. It's rare that I've had, maybe once or twice, that I've had 2 things that I was interested in not be there. And I'm like, okay, well, now I have to take a step back and figure out what the fuck's going on.
Right.
But again, I don't eat healthy. And when I couldn't eat and I came back from that, like that was, you guys recently did Fast and the Furious 2 on your other show, Matt's other show, Fast and the Furious. Great show. Definitely need to listen to it.
3 just came out as well at some point.
I saw that. But I remember something in Fast and the Furious 2 where, is it Taye Diggs? Is that who that guy is?
Yeah, Taye Diggs shows up in 2.
Okay. Paul Walker's bestie in that one.
Rest in peace.
Yeah. So he got out of prison and he's eating a lot of candy bars and stuff. And Paul Walker's like, man, you're eating a ton of candy. He's like, yeah, well, you're in prison. You don't get to eat when you want to eat. You don't get to eat what you want to eat. And he's like, I'm never going to go hungry again. And that's how I felt when I had achalasia, is I couldn't eat. I couldn't swallow food. I could barely get liquid down half the time. I was eating a lot of omelets. I was eating just the most basic things you could get. No red sauces because of heartburn. Everything you could think of that was like the stuff that brought joy to my life for a long time out of my system. Couldn't do it. For months, for a year, I lost a good amount of weight and I look great. It's nice to be sick because sometimes
every day
you look good. Yeah. But after the operation, I couldn't eat solid food for, I think, 2 or 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I was on a clear liquid diet going in and coming out for several weeks. And then slowly I could introduce some stuff, but it had to be blended up. So like blended soups no substance to anything for another couple weeks, and then slowly introduce other foods into it. I wanted.
At what point did you reintroduce
so bad.
dick into your diet?
Well, I took it another way.
Such a team player. I love that about you.
You know, that's everything in the back door is working fine. It's the front that's fucked up.
All right.
Yeah, so I wanted barbecue ribs. I wanted pizza. I wanted a lot of the stuff that I couldn't have for a long time, and some stuff that I hadn't thought about for years. But it's like all of a sudden, oh shit, I can eat that now.
But I think it's because you can't have it is why you want it.
Right, but then when you can have it and you just decided, and I'm just going to go for it and do it, then that's the problem. I put the weight back on and then some pretty fast, and have hung around at this level, and I'm not happy about this level, but I've been at this level when I was younger. When I was like 15, I was about 300 pounds, and then I dropped down to 120 over the course of about a summer. So when I came back to school the next year, nobody recognized me. And then I got back up and I leveled about 160. And I spent most of my teen years and into my early 20s, at least, between 160 and 180. But to be at the weight that I'm at now again, I don't love it. It sucks. I have a heart condition. I've got heart conditions coming from both sides of the family. So I get winded walking a flight of stairs. But I spend every day when I go to work, like we have restrooms on both floors, and I'm just like, I always go upstairs to use the restroom because I just want to get those steps in. I'm trying to do the little tiny things I can to get better, which I also have to get some fucking major surgery at some point to get better. But all of that is like, we need an excuse for me to make changes. Yeah, this is a shitty excuse for it to happen. But for me, it's a horrible way to say this. It's kind of a blessing if this is going to change how we do some things.
Right. So I had my yearly physical, and my blood sugar always comes back high, and that's the only thing. And the doctor was like, "Well, I want to do an A1C or whatever." And I came back, and she goes, "It's normal. I don't understand this." And I said, "I'm going to level with you." I said, "I got real drunk on Sunday, and I ate a lot of nacho cheese." And she just kind of stared at me, and she goes, "Yep, that'll do it."
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, like, and they're like, what do you do for exercise? And I told them, and then just kind of stared at me, and I said, I hate cardio, but I do a little bit because I understand that I don't want to die at 35. And
you hate cardio, but you also drum for hours at a time.
And they didn't like it last year when I said, hey, yeah, I play in a metal band, so basically I do CrossFit, and they didn't get it. This year my joke was, she's like, oh, are you sexually active? I said, I'm married, so kind of. Yeah. She just stared at me, and I'm like, all right.
Whenever the wife's away.
Tough crowd. Tough crowd, yeah, right? Get all the hookers in the pole over when she's gone this week, so I'm going to have the pole installed. By that, I mean I'm going to move the recliner in front of the TV.
Oh, I thought you were inviting Sean over. But
who?
Sean.
Just,
I was using a random name.
Oh, I'm like, who are you referencing? I'm usually not, neither of us are really shy with using our real names or anything, so that's why I was very confused. I'm going to invite Mike over. Mike, I know you're watching. Alyssa's gone. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Mike's literally watching, just rubbing the nipples.
He has his shirt off, just... Tell Katie I need you to fix my FedEx package.
Yeah, so I want to follow my my whole rant about getting healthier by saying I picked up the Mountain Dew Voodoo flavor this week.
I want to know what you think about it, because I've had it.
I have not yet. This is going to be.
I literally
had it in the fridge waiting.
Oh, attaboy! I'm halfway through beer number 2. I literally had like 2 drinks of it, and I'm like, I'm good. Like I cannot drink regular soda anymore. Going back to my
random flavors for Mountain Dew.
Well, not only that, terrible. But it just goes back to I don't really drink soda anymore. So drinking a full strength soda is very difficult. Now I tried to figure out what this thing. It looks like Corey just sniffed a butthole. That's the face he made. So that's a new face.
It tastes good at first, and then it like leaves your mouth.
Yeah.
But it's like it dragged death across it first.
Yeah. So I've heard that it's supposed to taste like a caramel apple or candy corn or like any number of things, and I still don't know what the fuck it's supposed to taste like.
I had heard Skittles. Now my first instinct when I ate it was a Starburst.
Exactly. Pink Starburst is the first thing I said too, and my coworker looked at me like I was an idiot. So naturally, I killed him.
Starburst that is trying to fuck with you. No, that's going to go in the fridge.
And that's the thing. Like, we bought a 12-pack of cans from Meyer, and I felt really bad because I should ask him what those cans are up to these days. But I was trying to Google the Mountain Dew Voodoo flavor, and the first thing that comes up is a eBay listing for a rare bottle of Mountain Dew Error for $5,000.
Mountain Dew Error, like they
Diet
made a Mountain Dew that was just a mistake.
Well, it's so that it's a picture of the bottle, and it just says Diet Mountain Dew. Everything's spelled right. Dunited.com is up on top, and then it says Vermont, and there's like a cow on it. I don't get what this person's trying to accomplish. Error,
So it's like a printing error. It's like when you
it's a
get a baseball
clear
card
bottle.
and the stats are backwards or something.
It's a clear bottle instead of green.
Okay.
$5,000? Go fuck yourself, eBay guy. Bowzowski player? Fuck yourself. Die in a fire. That's what I have to say about you selling your $5,000 piece of shit. Based in the United States, I'm going to find you. I'm going to shit on your doorstep.
I'm going to shove Mountain Dew bottles up your ass.
You fucking piece of
So
shit.
this at least gets better the more you drink it. Like
I wonder if when it warms up, it'll be a little less intense.
Yeah, it's practically at room temperature already because it's nice and steamy here. Although we got a little bit of rain going on behind me.
It fucking it poured all day here, so that's headed your way.
You lucky son of a bitch.
Well, I think it's supposed to be back in the low to mid 70s. It's a little
Yeah,
late
it's
to be
supposed to
this
hit like
warm.
high 60s tomorrow here. Not with rain, but it was supposed to get down to cooler temperatures this weekend, and it's stuck in the 80s.
We've had a flood warning for 10 days. Yeah, I live next to a floodplain, so it's not like that big of a deal, but it's pretty gnarly.
I'm on a river that literally flooded my house before I got to move into it. So,
oh, damn.
well, the basement filled up with water, but the rest
How
of the house
full?
was okay. But the whole street across the river, everything over there got wiped out pretty bad.
But how
Mr.
common is
B's
that?
Across from us was okay, but stuff down the road was messed up. So we were really lucky because his house was not insured.
Oh, fuck, yeah. But, I mean, how common is that to happen? Like, is this something you're going to be dealing with every couple of years?
Well, they called it a 100-year flood. But as you know, in this day and age, the 100-year flood is now every couple of years and getting more frequent.
Right.
They've had several 100-year floods down in Houston, I think.
Yeah, I have family who live in a suburb, and it's fucking pretty gnarly down there all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last time I was down there, they were just driving around being like, and that was underwater, and that was underwater, and I'm like, yeesh.
Plus, I'm wearing Erin's T-shirt. I mean, it's my T-shirt that I bought, but it's one that she drew, and I didn't think about it today. I went to Meyer on a Sunday in a small town, so everybody's getting out of church and seeing me with a demon with satanic symbols all around them on my shirt.
So,
And I'm sure they're going to want to drown me in holy water, too.
I wear a sleeveless Slaughter to Prevail shirt with an upside-down cross on it to the YMCA.
Yeah.
No one stops
But that's
me.
the why.
I have a buddy of mine in
A
Sheboygan.
lot of human sacrifices happen. To
He has a shirt. Fuck. And he's totally going to correct me when he hears this, but I could have swore it just has a big Star of David on it, and they asked him not to wear it again.
Yeah.
But I also know that he was trying to get a shirt that said "Doing It Yahweh," and I don't know whatever happened to that. Maybe I'll buy that for him. His wedding's coming up. Doing It Yahweh.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, so how's your week been?
Fine. It's a fucking half an hour in. All we've done is talk about food and health.
Yeah. Well, we were off last week because you were traveling.
I was drunk.
Yeah, which is what we call
I was time
for you.
traveling. Yeah, I was time traveling on Sunday. It's fine. I went to Chicago on Thursday. I had Friday off. I played a bunch of video games. Finished Gears of War 5. Holy shit, Corey. Since I've seen you, I've seen It 2, 3 from Hell, beat Gears of War 5, and started Borderlands 3.
Wow.
And my wife's gone, so I'll probably finish Borderlands 3 this week. Well, she leaves tomorrow morning, but...
So, do you want to give a quick summation of It 2? Because
Here's a nice piece of shit. I actually saw 3 from Hell and It both with Mike, so Mike can chime in as he sees fit. But Chapter 2 is 3 hours long. So
It is.
Chapter 2 itself is as long as Chapter 1 and 2 of the original.
Still felt shorter than Hereditary to me, but
So you saw Chapter 2?
oh yeah, we saw it opening night.
Okay, so I didn't care for some of the changes were fine.
Oh, you've read the book.
I have not read the book, but I've seen the
Okay.
original, which I believe is pretty true to the book, if I remember correctly.
The only thing about the original is that it was made for TV, so it's always tough to.
Right. So
understand.
I should listen to the book, but I'm basing Chapter 2 off of what I remember from Chapter 1.
Mm-hmm.
For what and fuck this. So the Chinese scene was fun. I remember the guy killing himself.
Yep.
The tomes or whatever that fucking piece was, I knew it was different, but I didn't hate it. Like the whole like sacrificial shit was fine. The only thing I was curious was, is he gonna still turn into a big spider? And he does.
Yeah.
Let's fucking call him a clown and bring him down to size, and then everyone grabs a piece of his heart and squeezes. A little cheesy, but I get it. The movie
it's
should
a Freddy
have.
Krueger ending.
Yes.
The first Nightmare on Elm Street where Nancy's like, I'm going to take away your power.
Yes.
But I don't know what you can do besides that. The only real problem in that scene is the fact that whole final battle scene happens almost exactly in the way that it happens in the first movie. It's just done over again. With higher stakes, but
yeah. So either way, the movie should have stopped there. The suicide note, all that shit, happy-go-lucky, sexy fat guy kisses a sexy redhead, didn't need to happen. My wife's crying in the movie theater. We're going to see a horror movie on Friday the 13th. She's fucking crying. And I'm like, that whole thing didn't need to happen.
see, I think it needed to happen, but I didn't feel anything from it because
I literally sat there and I was like, oh my God, stop.
this movie, I think, suffered a lot from the fact that the first movie was so good because of all the time the kids were together.
Yes.
It's a lot of closeness and their interactions, and those kids are just fucking incredible. This movie, we get the one real scene of the adults being together and being on the same page, and that's that restaurant scene.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is them infighting or I'm leaving. Okay, I'm staying. Okay, I'm leaving. Okay, I'm staying. Okay, I'm leaving.
Yeah, there was a lot of like callback or jumping back to them as kids, and
which I like all of that.
Yeah.
Again, because the kids were the better part of it.
Yeah.
The hardest part is that the first part was so good.
Mm-hmm. I love the
kids
first
were
one.
so good, and the people they chose to play with the kids are good, but they just didn't have the positioning to do it in the same way that the kids did, of being stronger and that's what the whole theme of the movie is. We're stronger together.
Yep. I didn't care for Bill Hader. Like, I love Bill Hader. I think he's great, but I feel like they were like, we need someone funny. We'll get Bill Hader.
The comedy, while it
was
feels
forced.
I honestly laughed at everything that was comedic, including the Call Me Angel in the Morning, which was a dumb tacked on moment, but I still laughed out loud when it happened.
Yeah.
And yet I look at it and I see that's a failing to do that. It's such a cheap bit to just like, oh, here's the demon's going to throw up on the guy who's already freaked out by everything anyways. And we're going to slow-mo it and play a song that has no reference in anything at all to just be like, we're going to just do this.
It felt very Deadpool.
Yeah.
Which had no place in this movie. But
the problem is, again, Richie was incredibly funny in the first movie, and all the kids carried it well.
I think he was inadvertently funny. Like, he was written to be kind of funny, and it just came across as a lot funnier than it was supposed to be. And
little kid saying everything about, like, your mom chewing on my dick and stuff.
Right. So then when 2 came out, they're like, we got to ramp her up. And that just, I don't think it worked.
I'm different than you in that I love Bill Hader in this, but I love Bill Hader in everything.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I thought he was fine.
His character arc, while it didn't feel hinted at in the first one, and so they have to kind of go back and retroactively fit it in.
Yeah.
It felt so. I just tugged every time I saw that and stuff. I really did love him in this, and I loved a lot of the movie, but it was it's kind of like Quantum of Solace was to Casino Royale. It's like after Casino Royale was so good, and the next one is just like all the points that we have to hit that we didn't do in the first one.
Yeah.
That's what this was. What I've heard is that they are planning to do a version of it where the scenes take place in the order like they did in the book. And they couldn't do that in the chapter 1, chapter 2 portion. But if they do a release with both DVDs together and they do like an edited version to make it feel more like that, then it may seem more natural.
They were talking about doing a supercut with deleted scenes that you can only get in the supercut.
And I could definitely have like Sundays of watching.
But the downside, and I was, because my mom's a huge Stephen King fan, so when she was here earlier, I was talking to her and I said, like, the original is 3 fucking hours.
Right.
That's long enough. So now you're telling me there's going to be a supercut of a 2 and a 3 hour movie with deleted scenes. You're looking at 5.5 hours.
But at home that works because we fucking play Netflix shows and stream them all day. We binge watch series like that all the time.
Right. But you generally will watch like an episode and pause, go to, like when Alyssa and I did Stranger Things in a day, we would watch an episode, we would go do something else, we would come back, we would watch an episode. So it's every hour you're taking a break. This is a 5-hour piece that doesn't really have breaks. You're going to have to make breaks.
I agree. And I remember when I was a kid and the movie channels started happening on cable, Showtime would play like a really long movie. They would stop and do an intermission point.
Intermissions are like a lost art, and I fucking miss them.
But
because Daddy needs to stretch his legs.
With remote controls to just pause shit ourselves and say, I gotta pee, I gotta shit, I gotta get up and walk around because it's a little bit too much of that. And that spider in the corner is fucking freaking me out because I think it's got a clown face. That it's in our hands now to do that. But I don't disagree with anything that you said. Like everything that you said is kind of what I've thought about it. I enjoyed it as I was watching it, and I didn't come back to it with the same like, oh, that was really fucking stupid, like I did with Halloween, which is the last movie that I'd seen in this theater, and it was Erin's first time at that theater. The chairs there are really uncomfortable. She was really uncomfortable in that seat the whole time, but she still loved the movie, and it didn't feel long. Like I said, Hereditary felt long at 2 hours.
Right.
And Avengers Endgame didn't feel long to me at 3 hours. I was in a much nicer seat then.
Right. Speaking of Hereditary, and I want to get off of it because people may have tuned out because they want to see it, but Midsummer is supposed to come out tomorrow, I think, on video.
Yeah.
So we'll have to try and watch that, maybe.
And I've heard that has...
like an ultra mega cut if you purchase Apple TV for 37 months and cut off your left testicle.
Apple TV, the thing they're giving away free if you buy anything Apple. If you buy an iPhone, if you buy an iPad, if you
pluck out 12 pubic hairs, they'll give you an Apple TV.
Yeah, exactly. Which is about what it feels like when you have to buy any one of their fucking bullshit adapters to make your shit work.
Speaking of, I was trying to help Erica and Dan with this mixer that they had purchased for doing Monster Madness. And I'm like, so you have like these USBs and they're going into this. And I said, and you have like a headphone in and a mic out. And she's like, no, I have this dongle that has an HDMI and 2 USBs. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what are you supposed to do with that?
She's on a Mac, right?
She is on a Mac.
Yeah, Jack had some of the same issues on his MacBook.
Right, which it kind of sucks. Like even so, the Lenovo's we have for work are starting to do that. Like they took out the Ethernet adapter and they don't have as many USBs. Thankfully, mine still has like an SD card slot on it. But yeah, it's just I get it. Everyone's trying to be really thin and sleek and light.
Yeah, the new Dells, a lot of them are doing that where they don't have the Ethernet on them, and even though they've been using USB-C docks for the last couple of years, the new ones only work with the new USB-C docks. To if you want to image them and stuff, it's a giant fucking pain in the ass. And it, yeah, you're right. It's we want sleek, we want lightweight, and I appreciate the sleek and lightweight, but I also want something that can be fucking used right.
Well, and that's the thing.
And every time someone buys a Surface and they're using that, the first thing they complain about is like, so I can travel with this and I can plug it in a hotel. Yeah, but you have to bring that fucking 10-pound docking station with you.
Yep.
Because none of that shit's on board,
we have a couple
finding a fucking adapter that's going to work otherwise.
We have a couple. We got like a couple cheap from a company at work to test them, and one of the guys that has one is someone that I work with quite frequently, and he's always fucking complaining about it. He was trying to put in, he was projecting on a TV, so he had his HDMI plugged in, and the one USB, the USB for the mouse also couldn't fit.
Mm-hmm.
So he was using his touchpad and his screen, and like shit wouldn't work, and then his wireless mouse would stop working. Fuck, man, I'll just stick with, but the Lenovo I have is just fine.
Yeah,
but I do want to talk about 3 from Hell because I had serious problems with it. Some news came to light, and I felt a lot better about it, and I do want to go see it again. I didn't realize it wasn't coming out in theaters. It was just like a 3-day event that went over pretty well, so they're doing a 4th night.
Good for them. And that's the thing is I didn't realize until all of a sudden everybody's going to see it. I'm like, what? It's out already? And then I'm
So I knew
it's not out for long.
I knew it was coming out. It was like this 3-day event, and I was super pumped. The first night was my birthday, so I was like, this is what I'm fucking doing. If you showed up early, you got a special poster. So Alyssa, Mike, and I went, and Mike was kind enough to share his popcorn. His penis was in the bottom. Didn't stop me.
At the bottom of the popcorn?
Or the bottom of the popcorn. Yeah, he cut the hole in there and just dick through. But so here, this is probably my favorite thing about the whole thing. It was not a movie. It was a Fathom event. So there was no commercials, no previews. 7:00 start time. There was a 3-minute intro from Rob Zombie. Movie started. 2-hour movie. We were walking out at 8:45.
Nice.
So that I was really thankful for. I'm not shy about the fact that Captain Spaulding is my favorite character in these movies.
Yeah.
He is in 3 from Hell for 5 minutes.
Ooh.
I was very, very upset. And then it basically is this interview with him that I had already seen online, which I was upset about. And then it said, he was put to death 2 weeks later, some shit. I was like, motherfucker, that's it? The third person is Baby and Otis's half-brother that you never hear anything about. Baby is like this caricature of herself, which was kind of annoying, but Otis was true to form. Bill Moseley was great, as always. But
yeah,
it came out a couple days later, 2 days later. Sid Haig's health has been so bad that Zombie had to beg the doctors to let him out of the movie or out of the hospital to be in the movie for all that he's in. Wow. So the script was rewritten, he said, roughly 10 times to pare down Spaulding's part in it to fit Sid's health. So I was like, oh, motherfucker, that sucks. But I said, at least he didn't make this stupid decision where he's like, oh, well, Spaulding's just going to die in the beginning of the movie, and we're going to have this other guy that we've never talked about. And it was done for, I hate to use the term better reasons, but it was done for better reasons. So that makes me want to go back and watch it again.
And I've been hearing stuff about Sid's health and everything, and he was having
he
really
had been
bad
denying
time.
it for so long, and because I follow him on Instagram, and he was like, oh, I'm not dying. I'm just, I'm getting thinner. I'm getting older. I'm trying to be healthier. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, he's in the fucking hospital with something going on. And Zombie's words exactly were like, Sid Haig, this big burly dude. I go in there and he's like a skeleton. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Like, dude, you're 82. So I guess another thing was if for him to be in the movie in the capacity that third character was, he would have had to pass like a physical and a couple other things for Lionsgate to employ him to pay him.
Right.
And that was a concern. Yeah. And for insurance, obviously. And that was a concern. So
it's disappointing, but it's realistic.
It is. It's disappointing, but it's disappointing for like a valid reason. It's not just like Rob Zombie's like, I have this vision and Spaulding's not in it. It was more of like a dude, we had to.
Because the vision was a promise of those three. That's what we've been led to believe this whole time.
But I felt better knowing that he was always supposed to be the third person, and he just physically at his age is unable to do it. Also, my understanding was Rob Zombie had never intended in doing a third movie. It was just after a couple of years he got an itch, and then 3 years ago, I think he said, he went to Lionsgate and he's like, hey, I want to do another movie with these characters. And they were like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Jesus Christ. Sorry, my dad keeps calling me.
That's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so I do really want to re-see it when it comes out. I think it comes out on Blu-ray on October 15th is what they said. That is certainly one I'm going to purchase because I'm certain they're going to come out with like a 3-pack of all 3, and much like my 20th anniversary Hackers Blu-ray, gotta own it.
Gotta own it.
Yeah. So, do you want to talk about I'll Take Your Dead?
Yeah.
This was your suggestion, by the way.
This was my suggestion.
You fucking talk about it.
So people who watched the last or heard the last episode, we were doing Hobo with a Shotgun, which I kind of knew going in that it was not going to be a great movie. I didn't know how much it was not going to be a great movie until I actually watched it. But
I hate to say that Hobo with the Shotgun. Sorry, I hate to say that Hobo with the Shotgun isn't a good movie because it was entertaining. But from a story standpoint, it's not a good movie.
Right.
So
and I don't know that I was as entertained as you were, but
I also
taste and stuff like this.
Speaking of how easy it is to entertain me, I've recently found a guy on YouTube called Davey504 who just talks about playing slap bass all the time, and I'm pretty sure he's not 100% there, and he's Italian, which makes it even worse. Fucking love it. I love it.
You find out that he's not all there because he'd seen Rocky and decided that he could fight anybody and got tagged in the head once too many. And
yeah. Anyways, carry on with the movie.
So I had on Saturdays I tend to stay up really late, and I was trying to.
I was going to text you yesterday at like 10:45, and I'm like, he might be asleep. And then I think you text me, and I was like, he never sleeps. I forgot about that.
That's right. So I was like, yeah, I'll put on a movie that I'm not too worried about being into, and I'll just fall asleep to that. And I saw this movie on the listings on so I see this movie in the listings, and I have no idea what it is, and I'm like, sure, I'll just give it a shot. And I put it on, and it is actually kind of fucking engrossing because it's an intimate little film. A couple years ago now, we did a movie called The Autopsy of Jane Doe. You remember that one?
Mm-hmm.
This kind of reminded me of that because it's all in one space. Really, it happens on this farm that this man and his daughter live on, and the gist of it is that he has mobsters that have kind of control over him because of something that happened by accident when his wife was in the hospital dying years ago, that they come and they drop off bodies for him to get rid of. He's in an isolated place. No one knows any association between him and the mobsters themselves. So it's just an arrangement. They pay him. He's not proud of it. He doesn't think that he's a good person, but he also doesn't think he's a terrible person either because he's not killing anybody.
Yeah.
He's doing a job, which, considering the fact that he works with livestock and stuff, is probably not far off from things that he would be used to doing normally. The only weird part, other than dealing with dead people, is that his daughter is there, and he is a dad, and he's got to kind of protect her from things. But she works on the farm too. Realistically, she's got an exposure to this stuff, and as a man who's lost his wife and his daughter is growing up, and he doesn't know how to deal with everything anyways, he's not doing the greatest job of keeping the weird stuff from her. And that's kind of to the basic, except what happens is that at the beginning of this movie, some people who work for the mobsters that know of him because of it come and drop off some bodies that go outside his guidelines, and he doesn't want to take them because one of them is a kid, and he says that he doesn't take kids, and they don't really give him a choice. and another one is a woman, and it turns out that the woman isn't actually dead. And so the movie is him dealing with the fact that she's alive, and because he's not a horrible person, debatable.
But I guess jumping straight to the end, he does say like everything I did for my daughter. So you could argue he's not a terrible person. He just did it with a very specific end game in mind.
Right. And that's the thing is you can have an idea of loose morality with this. You can say, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? And that's explored throughout this thing. Because we're supposed to identify with him. We're exposed to it as he's not a bad guy. And we get to see his relationship with his daughter, and you see that they have a very sweet relationship, a very nurturing thing. But how much is she suffering by being exposed to this? One of the things is that she sees ghosts of the people that he's disposed of.
I thought that was a very odd turn of events based on the description of the movie. Like, I get it, but
well, that's something that I'd like to go over with you when we get to it. But she sees ghosts, and she's a little weird. She's cut off. She doesn't have a female influence in her life. So when there's this other woman who's now in her house, tied up to the bed, wearing her mother's dress that she bleeds all over, and they have to burn it. And she's cleaning up blood spots on the floor and things like that. She knows about the getting rid of the body stuff. She doesn't know how to be a little girl. She doesn't know how to be a girl who's turning into a young woman, and that stuff that gets explored in this. And so the relationship stuff and the interactions between these three characters, I think, is really good. I think the person who plays the villain is really good as a vile person that you despise and you fear.
I really hope he listens to this and he's like, you know what? I've waited all my life to be told that I'm really good at being a piece of shit.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a person who's playing a villain, you want to do a good job of it as an actor.
Right. No, I agree, but
also, this is a production company that's based out of Canada. I guess they've won some awards. They're called Black Fawn Films. They do a bunch of, I don't know what their other stuff is like, but they've got at least like 10 to 20 films that they've done, some music videos and stuff too. And I'm intrigued by the fact that this company exists, because right now in America, our horror films are pretty much dominated by Blumhouse.
Yes. Lionsgate too. But yeah, Blumhouse and Lionsgate, I think, between the two of them.
But Blumhouse is like almost everything that's been coming out that gets noticed and talked about is from them. It's not necessarily like they're making all the movies, but they're the distribution and production for these films. And so there's the Conjuring universe that all kind of blends out with your Annabelle and the Nun, and these other things. Like that gets very big and spread out.
But that's all still Lionsgate, right? Or is that Blumhouse? That's Blumhouse,
I'm
right?
pretty sure that's Blumhouse. I think that's where it came from.
Yeah, Saw was Lionsgate.
Right.
I think
the guys who worked on Saw are the ones who started Blumhouse.
It's a mess out there, guys.
Yeah, it's a very incestuous thing. So it's tonally similar.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's just kind of like and the haunted house thing. We've just seen so much of, and we complained about it when we watched that last movie from them, that the El Memora Ming Memora, whatever it was.
El Lama Nama Numi.
Yeah. That it felt like we hadn't gotten anything new from it. It for as good as the people who were in it, and their performances were fine, the material was just so much of the same. And so I'm interested to know what a company that isn't them is doing, since they can be more experimental. They're not trying to like fit this process down and just like keep milking out the same sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You know, we're friends with people who make horror movies. We're friends.
We're friends with horrors too.
Doing original stuff, and I want to see what other original people are doing, as opposed to just seeing the same thing happen over and over. And your next 2 or 4 Halloween films and whatever else is going to get rebooted or get sequelized 20 years down the road or whatever.
There's that.
But what did you think from this?
I really wish this movie would have either decided to be like an action movie or a horror movie. Because you could have very easily just made it an action movie in terms of the fact that this guy disposes of bodies, this girl's not dead, to fucking deal with it. The horror movie aspect seemed like very after the fact and like, well, we're just going to put this girl in there and she's going to start seeing things and that's going to make it scary.
I think the movie had scary without that.
Absolutely. I didn't expect any of the shit where she sees the guy sitting at the piano or she starts seeing all the dead bodies or when the gangsters show up at the end and they start seeing all, like, fuck, none of that needed to be there. And this still could have been a horror movie. Just the fact that this guy teaches his daughter how to dismantle and dispose of bodies and then these guys come to kill them because this girl didn't die could have been fine. It would have been like a very
would have worked as just that film.
Yes,
and
it would have been a soft horror movie, but it still would have been a horror movie. Like you didn't need a haunting aspect to make it a horror movie.
Yeah, what was the movie with Patrick Stewart where
Patrick
the
Swayze?
Neo-Nazis had the band?
Ghost?
No, not
Greenhouse. Or Green Room, sorry, Green Room.
Green Room. Yeah, it could have been a horror movie in the fact
Ghost.
that Green Room is a horror movie.
Right, which and it's a horror movie from the standpoint of the fact that you as a human being are in a very fucked up situation.
Yep.
And that is in itself terrifying.
Now, we did that movie that I chose also a few weeks ago. God, I don't remember the name of it either. But the one about the two hitmen. And they wind up, the people that are killing it all leads to a cult.
Give me a second to look it up.
Yeah.
Hang on, I gotta switch back over to my account because my wife uses my computer all the time. I'm gonna have to beat her.
Which is his own horror movie too. It's
Just my life
being
is a
married
horror
Matt.
movie. Yeah.
But that movie was a very straightforward.
It's gonna piss me off when I find it out because
Yeah. But it was a very straightforward movie of like two hitmen doing jobs and stuff like that, and that being its own horrific kind of thing. Guy Ritchie without a sense of humor type of deal. But then it involved, as it goes along, this outlying mystery of this cult.
Kill List.
Yeah. Which I like that movie because it does one thing really well, but this other aspect that it introduces just adds a little bit of flavor to it that doesn't get fully explained, which I know frustrates you.
Yeah, it does, but it doesn't. But yeah, carry on.
But also it's like it's not necessary, but a lot of things in films aren't necessary, but if they bring it in and they do the right things with it, then it just adds enough flavor. It's like that Western bacon cheeseburger. You've got your hamburger, and as a hamburger, it's fine. But then when you lather on these other ingredients, it specializes. It makes it something else that you wouldn't have normally expected. Like, oh, here's your Blue Cheese crumbles, and here's your
Blue Chew?
Your black and tan cooked onion rings that are on the burger or whatever, or your mozzarella sticks. Like that's sort of what it's doing. Is it's taking it. And it's like, yeah, we're doing this, and we hope that we're achieving this story in a way that's enjoyable to the people who are coming at it from the idea of that genre. But this little twist is something that we want to add to it because we think it gives it something too. And I think that movie did that, and this movie does that. And I find that interesting because, like, I like to write things that are both familiar but still have a little bit of the fantastical added to them.
Right.
And when it comes to storytelling, I can't write just regular people doing regular stuff. I always have to put something in there that makes it a little bit more, a little bit extra millennial. But and that may be a weakness in my writing, but it's also just where my head goes. My trip is this is how I want to storytell. And I know that this movie, the writer-director dedicated to his mom who had passed away. I don't know if that was part of the reason why the story was the way it was, or if it just happened that he was making this movie and that actually just coincided, and he put her in the thank you, the credits anyways. But
It's possible.
it may have been that this is his way of dealing with her passing, because the mother in this had passed away. The idea of dealing with the repercussions of the dead as opposed to them just being put into a vat and gone. Like, it gives the dead people in this an extra weight, an extra voice, even though they don't speak, that they wouldn't have had, and it would have just been the father and the daughter and the.
I think
the
you're
living
giving it too
person.
much credit.
I am giving it a lot of credit, but I think that when we talk about why I think the daughter sees the dead people and how that all plays out,
Yeah.
you're going to get really upset with me because I'm going to give it even more credit.
Whatever. I do want to point out that Beatmaster has finally showed up, and he's very shocked that we're an hour in and already talking about the movie. We're talking about it at great length, too. But you did miss 1 hour of fast food, health, It 2, and 3 from Hell Talk.
Yeah, this is the third movie we're talking about, Beatmaster.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I mean, to your point, like, I do really, I think that deaths tend to affect writing. So we had band practice yesterday, and I was talking to our bass player. We were listening to parts of the new Korn record, and like, I guess it was written right after the singer's wife had passed away from a drug overdose.
Oh wow!
And like, everything's super fucking sad, and I'm like, it's like, yes, I feel really bad for you, dude. That sucks. Like, I don't want to have to deal with it, but I want to listen to Korn. I don't want to listen to sad Korn. So like, as a consumer, that's a really shitty thing to say, but to the point that I'm making here is,
well, when's the last time Korn put on an album?
a good album or an album?
An album.
Please let me look this up, because it's been a while. Korn Discog. God damn it, Google, just give it to me in fucking order. 2016. So
that's not that long ago.
They've consistently put out records forever, but please tell me the last time that Korn put out a record that you remember.
Well,
The name of the record, if you can.
I don't remember the name of the record, but I remember Todd McFarlane drew the artwork for one. But I think the girl skipping hopscotch across the.
Jesus Christ, you're talking about Follow the Leader in 1998.
Yeah, because I don't listen to a lot of Korn.
Which is fine. But Issues
Right.
Issues came out in 99, Untouchables 2002, Take a Look in the Mirror 2003, See You on the Other Side 2005, Untitled Album 2007, Korn 3 2010, The Path of Totality 2011, The Paradigm Shift 2013, and The Serenity of Suffering 2016.
This is like Matt reading the listing on Kornhub.
Kornhub, but what I'm saying is, like, I knew Korn had been putting out records the entire time. I thought they were shit. This one was supposed to be the new, like, we're fucking putting out the heavy. We're putting out the heavy Korn again. And
all right,
yeah.
so that's if Metallica put out their next album, and it was, and I don't want to put anything out there. So one of the members loses their wife or spouse. We won't even.
You know, they're all on like marriage number 3, right?
Well, yeah, and
But
we also know that they lost Cliff years ago, and that already was an album that was put out by tragedy. But so the next album comes out, and it's all really downer because they're dealing with some emotional thing. But you already know that you've had the last several albums that did not feel like Metallica. So it's one more thing of the same disappointment that you're already feeling. So you would have felt disappointment if it was just like the last 2 albums from Korn, as opposed to this totally different thing that Korn's doing.
But
because you didn't like the last 2 albums.
As someone that hasn't listened to Korn since like the early thousands, to be like, I'm gonna come back. I'm really excited for this. They put out a single that was pretty heavy for Korn. It would be the same thing. Like Metallica put out Saint Anger, that was not good, and then they came back with Death Magnetic, and I was like, fuck yeah, we're getting there. Like, it's not the same. It's not Master of Puppets, but it's about as good as we're gonna get at this point.
But if it was like, we haven't had a new Korn album since 2001.
Oh, that would be a way different story. If they wouldn't have been putting out
the first new Korn album, this is like the new Tool album. The new Tool album just came out.
Let's not talk about that.
It's all harmonica based.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about
that. They got John Popper to join the band, and him and Maynard are just kicking it, and Maynard's playing a banjo, and fucking that would be a huge thing to just say. Then why the fuck do you even call it Tool? But if there was a Korn album just 3 years ago, and there was a Korn album 2 years ago before that, and there was a Korn album like 5 years before that, It's not the same thing.
No. But like you're saying, so if they wouldn't, which I'm sure you don't understand, is Korn put out a dubstep album in there. One of those records was dubstep because he was really big. He's buddies with Skrillex, and they got a little soft. So when they put out a single that sounds fucking super heavy for Korn, how are we? I don't even understand how we got to this topic. But why am I defending?
I'm going to make it
Korn?
very clear. I'm not the one who brought up Korn.
No, I know you're not. But I was like, now I'm defending Korn. At one point in my life, I knew all the words to Twist, which is the song that has no words other than the word twist. But
Live.
yeah, so the body, sexy Jackie is alive. Yeah, I'd won Jackie. The plot's not too deep in this movie film.
It doesn't take a lot. Jackie and
I do really appreciate the fact that the movie is only 1 hour and 28 minutes, and it does not fuck around.
No, it doesn't. So Jackie and the people that she's with, her boyfriend, and I guess their gang, that the kid that I talked about earlier, and another person, they're all at some place, and the boyfriend goes in to handle the deal. But then this other gang comes out and shoots them all in the car. Jackie sees the face of the guy who shoots her before she goes under. So he assumes she's dead. She's taken a bullet to the neck and a bullet to the side. And
so I would like Beatmaster's asking if Danny Glover entered. Danny Glover was not in this movie. I'm sorry.
No, he played the guy who was grabbing everybody into the oven.
Thought you were going to say grabbing everyone in the pussy.
Yeah, that's right. Danny Glover, famous pussy grabber.
Danny Pussy Grabbing Glover.
That totally sounds more like Mel Gibson, but still. I learned from watching you, Mel.
Oh, Jesus.
When I'm alone in the desert. So Jackie and her crew get shot. When Jackie comes back, the daughter is seeing ghosts of the rest of the crew. But she also is terrified of going in the basement because she sees the ghosts of the first person that her father took care of for the original gangster,
which is
who's the one who paid him $10,000 and like keeps doing it.
Which is fine, but my problems really start when the other gangsters show up and then they see the ghosts. And it's like, I get why the daughter sees the ghosts because she's the one that's helping dispose of these bodies, so she's haunted by them. But for someone to just fucking show up at this house and just...
So here's where I said I was going to either piss you off or maybe make you see it in a different light. Because as a person who is a storyteller, I took it as something else. And I want to go over with you because this is just a theory. I know no more about the story than what you got from seeing it.
There's no ghost dog.
Anybody in association with this film. So during the time that Jackie is staying with them, against her will, whatever, the daughter, God, I hate that I can't remember her name because she is the most interesting character in this whole thing. And the actress is fantastic in this part. But all the stuff with her and her dad and all the stuff with her and Jackie, everything, she could carry the movie if the rest of the performances weren't good, but all the rest of the performances are still really good on top of this. Anyways, in the time that Jackie's there, the daughter, one gets Jackie's earrings.
Gloria.
What's that?
Gloria is her name.
Gloria.
Yep.
Gloria gets Jackie's earrings. Jackie offers them to her. And Gloria, like when we see her the next day, she's pierced her own ears with the earrings. So she's got blood running down her ears. Gloria's a little messed up. She's a little Wednesday Addams.
But if you were helping your dad dispose of dead bodies, you probably would be too.
Right. And if you don't have a lot of exposure to other people, like I assume she's probably homeschooled, but she's schooled at all where they live. She spends a lot of time isolated. So she doesn't have a lot of experience.
Do you know what makes me really sad?
Huh?
Do you know what makes me really sad?
What?
Ava Preston, who played Gloria, was birthed 6 months before I graduated high school.
Yeah. She's like, what, 13 or something in this?
Well, she's 15 now.
15
so she's
now, right. And this movie's
about 13, 14.
About a year and a half old.
Yeah.
So, and that's part of what's going on. So she gets her first period during the course of this stuff. And Jackie sends her to go get her purse from the garage where the other bodies and stuff were gotten rid of, and to bring back because she's got a pad in there, and she teaches her what it is that's going on. Because her dad probably hasn't. And her dad, when he finds out what's going on, he sees blood on her dress and he starts to freak out and thinks she got shot.
Yeah, but you didn't preface it with the fact that he heard a gunshot, she came running in, and then there was blood.
He's right to think that, but he's not used to thinking in those terms. And so it takes him a minute, even when she says what's going on and she makes it clear that it's not that, for him to register and realize, shit, my little girl is now becoming a woman and going through this thing that I understand, I know, but I don't know
understand
enough how to just make the claim of like, hey, you should be expecting this, and he hasn't had that talk with her.
Just jam some Kleenex up there. It's cool.
Right, exactly.
Did they ever
Cherokee hair.
Oh. Did they ever like explain how the mother dies?
The mother had an illness, and it was probably cancer. I think they kind of go into it. And while she was in the hospital, he gets holed up at the house by the two gangsters, the one who got shot and the other one.
I must have slept through this part.
Yeah, he tells the story of like why he started doing this business. He's like, yeah, and his partner got shot, and I knew he wasn't going to make it, but I did everything I could to save him. And then when he died, he made me get rid of the body, and so I put him in the incinerator, and that's the incinerator thing in the basement that she keeps seeing. That first original one is the one that she's most terrified of. And then he peels off $10,000 from money they stole, and he just keeps sending people to me to get rid of bodies after this because they kind of own me. There's nothing I can do to keep them from doing it, and we needed the money because my wife passed away and we had all these hospital bills built up. Okay, so the dead people that Gloria sees. She has her period. Now, we already know that she's seeing dead people, but in the time after that is when the dead people start being seen and able to do things to other people. I think that she has psychic abilities and she's conjuring the dead people. She's bringing them back. And if you go off of classic X-Men stuff, it's usually when you hit puberty is when your powers start to come out. I think the trauma of her mom's death is what made her first started experiencing with her abilities to have dead people come back. So she sees them, but it was always inherent to her. And then she starts bringing them back more and more once she has her period, and because of the trauma of these people coming in to raid her house. So I think the whole thing about the dead people being there is because of her. She's manifesting them. That's why she only is the one to see them, but then they start to do stuff to protect her and her father when the other people show up. Is she's become more powerful at that point, and the situation is so much that it's pulling it out of her. Her fear is conjuring them. So it's a very Stephen King kind of thing. That was my thought process as to why it's happening.
I think you're giving too much credit.
And like I said, I don't know anything that you don't either. But it kind of lines up. And as a storyteller, that's what I would do, but I wouldn't necessarily say it. She says at the beginning that she has seen dead people and stuff. Why it centers around her and no one else. And why it only comes out to protect her and Jackie and her dad at that point in time is because it's still centering around her.
I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying or the point in which you're making. I just, back to my original point of the fact that it's like, I don't fucking want this much from a horror movie. I just like don't.
Or from this movie.
Well, and that's the thing, and I certainly stopped because there are certain movies where it's a little better to be more vague or a little more have a little more depth or be a little more thought provoked. But I don't feel like this one needed it, and the fact that you're coming out of the gate with a very flat, dumb story. Gangsters, bring me your dead. I will get rid of the bodies. This one's not dead. And now all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this one's not dead. And the girl's bringing back all these fucking ghosts and shit. And the ghosts are showing up. And now she's having a fucking period. And she's bringing back more ghosts. And all of a sudden there's a goddamn ghost orgy in my living room because my daughter's turned on by the black one who's playing the piano with one finger and half his goddamn face is falling off. I don't fucking want that. just fuck.
So
Even my
the
dogs are
movie
pissed
didn't
off.
Set your expectations in a way that made you receptive to this portion of the story.
Yeah. I mean, and I know a lot of times I say like, hey, just kind of spoon feed me everything because, and to my wife's comment about it too, and it's like I don't go see horror movies because I want to cry. It's like I don't get to see horror movies, and I don't watch all these horror movies because I want to have to think a whole lot. Just fucking give me a story.
Explain Santa Slay.
Exactly. Exactly. Just give me a fucking story and do your best to scare me.
Like movies sometimes that will make you think.
I
Just
do.
Not necessarily horror movies.
I really do. But I want to sit down and be like, all right, this one's a thinker. I'm in the mood for a thinker. When I sat down for this, understanding what the story was about, I was like, just fucking feed it to me.
And it does.
It does, but okay, and I think this might be the beauty of the movie is the fact that you can watch it for what you think is happening, and I can watch it for what I think is happening, and we both get to this. We get the same end game,
right? And
I think we just solved world peace.
Yeah, all we have to do is get Trump to watch this movie, and maybe he'll shut the fuck up.
We gotta stop him from playing golf all the time.
Whatever. If we put it on a plane to the Ukraine, I'm sure he'll. Anyway,
do you think he wants to party?
I don't think he wants to do anything but.
That's a yes.
Yes.
Eating 47 chicken McNuggets is partying to that old man, so I'm totally down.
I don't know that I am, but good for you. So yeah, I knew that you were going to have some problems with, and what I've seen, most reactions are the point where the movie falls apart for a lot of viewers is the fact of the dead people showing up. Is the ghost aspect of it felt to them tacked on, and that's reasonable to say. That's reasonable to believe.
It's not that. Like, even when it first started happening, I wasn't upset about it. It was the point in which other people showed up and they saw the ghosts is when I started to get upset. But the ghosts interacted in a way and such that without rewrites, that portion of the story couldn't have progressed without them being there. So I think
certainly would have been likely that the family wouldn't have made it.
Right. So the ghosts had to show up earlier in the movie to scare the girls so that later in the movie they could fend off the gangsters.
But I do appreciate, because there are definitely movies that I could have seen them doing this and then the ghost not showing up until the end.
And
just like a big chameleon twist.
Right. And there's also that. So I think the way that they presented it, I'm more thankful for the fact that it was laid out earlier before too late, where they're just like, hey, by the way, fucking ghosts.
But on the other hand, they could have advertised it a little bit better by establishing stuff, not just the girl sees the ghost, but giving a reasoning as to why she would see the ghost. Is there a history there? Is there something about her mom there? Like, her mom used to see ghosts too, that kind of stuff. They could have dropped a little bit more information to paint the picture so that you have more belief into why it's happening, as opposed to it's just, it's her psychosis because of how fucked up her upbringing is.
Or them be like,
it's real.
Yeah. So, because if they want to bring in the mom to be like, well, you know what, before she got sick, she started talking about how she was starting to see the ghosts of those that she had helped dispose of. Something to that effect. And I'm not saying that would have made the movie better, because now we're talking about like a 3-hour movie. And sweet Jesus, I'm not into that.
It's real easy with a couple lines to make that statement, though, and not have the girl say it, but have the dad say it, so that you're still believing that the girl might just be seeing it in her head, as opposed to there actually being something. But it is a twist when the ghosts show up and actually have interactions with other people. It's a twist of like, okay, it's not just her seeing this, it's they can do stuff.
Yeah.
And that changes the rules. But that rule change, like you said, paints how the ending has to happen for them to kind of get away. Otherwise, it's just a shootout, and none of the ghost stuff makes any difference anyways. Or it just doesn't need to be there. I like that it's there. I like that I've painted my idea as to why it happens that it does. but then it's not necessarily clear for everybody if I'm right or if I'm wrong. I would be interested to talk to people who made this at some point and say, hey, what was the thought process of this?
Right.
Just because as a storyteller, I want to find out what they were thinking, because I love talking story with people. That's why I do a show like this.
Right. So to your point, and I'm going to, so Beatmaster made the comment, there are movies that are 3 hours and felt half that, and 90 minutes movies that felt like an eternity. Fuck. It's really hard to form sentences right now. This movie did not, I mean, it was 90 minutes and felt about 90 minutes. There were bits and pieces that I didn't care for, but what I'm really appreciative for the fact is that you and I can now have this conversation where you saw it one way, I saw it another way, and we can kind of understand why we saw it. But it didn't take away from why I saw it. I didn't care for the movie, but I didn't hate it.
Right.
I never need to watch it again, but it really wasn't a waste of my time.
Yeah, I've now watched it twice in 2 weeks, and I enjoyed it as much or even maybe a little bit more the second time as I did the first time.
Which, and I've said this with a handful of movies we've done where you and I talk, and it's like, when I want to go back and watch it because of the conversation that was had and kind of like an understanding that I didn't have before. This might be one that I want to go back and see at a later time to just take it at face value. I mean, there's nothing you pointed out where it's like, whoa, at like 2 minutes in, the girl farts and you see the ghost in her butt toot, and that's what's foreshadowing for the fact that the black guy's playing the piano with one finger. So it's nothing like that, but it's more so the fact that it's like, you know what, maybe I just need to go back and watch it again.
Yeah, or she's casting spells with her menstrual blood, as women do.
They fucking paint them on the wall, and it's a whole it's a mess. It's a real mess, guys. And maybe one girl who's listening.
A typo. Yeah, no, and that's like I knew watching this movie where your head was going to be at with it.
In a plate of nachos?
I knew that it's a good enough movie that will keep your interest in a lot of ways that a lot of movies don't.
Is that bad that we've been doing this so long that when you watch a movie, you already know how I'm going to handle it?
No, because I don't want to bring you movies that I think you're going to hate.
But I've brought you so many movies you've hated Santa's Sleigh.
But you know what? I love that I watched Santa's Sleigh and got to talk about it with you.
I mean, I get it, but still.
What I get from this show is that stuff. And I can guarantee you, if Santa's Sleigh is just casually on cable one day, I will probably leave it on and laugh my ass off because of how much you love it. And
I couldn't even tell you what the movie was about if you asked me right now.
No. Why should we?
It's it's a good background movie. I like good background shows at times. But if you want to listen to that, we did Santa's Sleigh around Christmas between 1 and 3 years ago.
Yeah. And I now understand who Goldberg is a little bit more because he's been on the Goldbergs.
He's also the host of Forged in Fire, Knife or Death.
Oh,
if you're not a pro wrestling guy, Forged in Fire, Knife or Death is a competition with. You don't have to make the knife; you could purchase the knife, but you have to use it. And he's the host, which makes no fucking sense to me. But whatever, I watch it.
Well, it makes about as much sense as John Cena being the new host of Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader?
He's basically a fifth grader. That's the deal.
No, I like John Cena.
I think John Cena's fucking great, and he seems like a super nice guy, and he's pretty funny.
He's goddamn funny.
Yeah.
Blockers is honestly one of my favorite goddamn movies.
Dude, it was such a weird...
I love that movie so much.
It was such a weird movie to kind of like Goldberg, the former... Yes, Phil, the Goldberg, the former wrestler / NFL player.
Is he going to be in the XFL?
Fuck, I hope so. I think Antonio Brown's going to be in the XFL, but I don't think you pay enough attention to NFL news to get that joke.
Nope.
So while I'm waiting for Phil to respond, and John Cena is great at playing John Cena. Yeah, you're right. Antonio Brown, the former NFL player who was on the Raiders, threatened to punch his GM in the face, got traded to the Patriots for half the money, and then came out that he
just got let go.
Jizzed on a girl's back, and then got let go. Yeah. Yeah, he's going to be
Well,
in
he
the
got
XFL.
let go because he was threatening her for trying to expose him
Yes.
for what he was doing.
Yeah, it's a whole mess. Yeah, Phil, Goldberg's still around. So he was in the WWE it's probably about a year and a half ago. I saw him wrestle in Milwaukee at a pay-per-view. This is a solid NFL joke. Thank you. It's not every day I can bring an NFL joke and anyone gets it.
I mean, all of my NFL jokes are just basically I live in the same state with the Detroit Lions.
They won today.
The Phillies today. I know Erica was pissed off about
She's
the football
very
game.
upset. I saw the score and I texted her and I'm like, "Hey pal, how you doing?" Which is good because the Eagles are playing the Packers this coming Wednesday on Erica and Dan's anniversary.
Oh,
And I need the fucking Eagles to die. Burr, 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 burr.
I think I could just fly to the sea, fly like an eagle, let the spirit carry me. All right. So I don't know what else I would even have to say about this movie. So I think we can probably rate it.
I'll let you go first. I think you have a lot nicer things to say about this movie than I do.
I absolutely do. This movie, if it was just as the movie itself, it would be a fuck. It would be a pretty happy fuck. But I think that what I see in it and the performances especially, and the fact that it's this production company that I've never heard of, and I'm really interested in to know what else they do now, puts it more into a Mary category for me. Like I'm deeply into all of this at this moment. Now it could be like I see another movie or there are other 10 movies and they're all shit and they're nothing like this and I get a bad experience from Black Fawn Films. I don't know. But from this one picture, I really want to know more about what they're doing and who they are. And
so are you marrying?
I'm marrying this film.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
Continue.
No, that's really it. Is like I'm giving it advantages that it doesn't necessarily earn, but there's something there that I want to like more. So I'm marrying it with the fact that it would possibly get like Britney Spears annulled in 3 days. I don't know. Like once I realized what the fuck actually happened. Oh shit! Really? No, I wasn't thinking straight at all. But in this particular moment, yeah, I'm marrying it.
Okay. So I normally rate my movies before you and I do this.
Mm-hmm.
Before you and I did this, I rated this movie a kill. I'm hesitant though. I kind of want to lead towards a fuck because I want to watch it again. But I'm also not like dying to watch it again. Like I think
I'll watch it, but a kill is like you didn't enjoy it at all.
And that's what I'm saying. So it's like we'll switch it to a fuck because I will watch this movie eventually. I'm not going to go watch it now. I don't know when I'll go watch it, but someday I'm going to be like, you know what? I got 90 minutes. Let's fucking watch that movie again. That's where I'm at.
And that's where I thought you would land. I thought you would land at a fuck, but not like I'll just do it. And it's something sloppy. I'm into it for the moment, but
right.
I'm not super into it.
In this moment. All right, sorry, I'll stop.
Oh God.
Yeah. What do you want to do next time?
Oh shit. I don't know.
It would be next Sunday. I know I've been really shitty at communication lately, but next Sunday we're still good. I have a wedding next Saturday, but it's just to get drunk at a bar reception. It's not a full blown all day wedding.
So it's a normal Saturday.
The next Saturday I'm standing up, so that is my whole weekend's gone.
And that may be. I'm trying to think of what the dates are. What's the Saturday after next? The date
5th. So that's the beginning of the spooky season.
Okay, so that's fine because I'm probably going to be visiting my dad because that's the weekend. My birthday is the 7th.
Oh.
So I'm taking vacation that week. because mentally I'm having a breakdown.
Nope. Yep.
And
That's
both
not.
my boss and my coworkers have said, you need to get out of here. We're afraid that
Have
you're
you tried masturbating more?
No,
You
I
should
just
give that a go. But yeah, definitely take that week off. So okay,
so I was going to talk to you because I was probably going to try to go visit my dad because I've lived here for a year now and still haven't seen my.
no, yeah, do that. So we'll do next Sunday and then take the following Sunday off, which would coincide with your vacation.
Yep, and then I know Anthony had reached out and asked about being on with us in October.
Yeah, so the following week I'm in Denver, Sunday to Thursday.
So we will work some stuff out. We'll try to make that all add up because I think that following weekend after my birthday, anyways, it's my wedding anniversary.
Okay.
The 12th.
So we may just do one late, maybe we'll just like hammer 2 couple days in a row, something like that. But yeah, we'll figure that one out because
do something
Anthony
on a
wants to come back.
We'll line it up. We'll figure it out.
Yep. Jack texted me. He's got a couple people that want to come on.
Awesome. So if we don't have a plan for next week, is there anything that you've been wanting to do?
Please hold.
Because I can hit you with something, but I've now picked a couple, and other than guests, I don't know that you've picked in a while.
I guess The Purge was technically mine. The Curse
La Llorona.
Shed of the Dead. All right, I'm pulling up the movies that I got here.
Just a reminder to people who either visit us in the chat or listen to the show, and anytime you want to email us and give us suggestions as to movies that you think we should do, we'd love to hear that.
PoT@gncast.com.
Yep.
I did just recently reacquire the Sleepwalkers.
I would be fine with doing Sleepwalkers. I'm in the last 3 episodes of the revival of Twin Peaks. Finally.
Annabelle, the new Annabelle Comes Home, I want to watch. I'll Always Know What You Did last summer.
Oh God, that's right.
We had talked about that one.
I think Erin watched that and she just kind of shook her head as she walked away from
the Headhunter. I also heard that one was pretty good.
I don't know that one.
I'm bringing up this. On the outskirts of a kingdom, a quiet but fierce medieval warrior protects the realm from monsters and the occult. His gruesome collection of heads is missing only one, the monster that killed his daughter years ago. Driven by the thirst of revenge, he travels wild expanses on horseback.
Oh, it sounds pretty cool. It sounds deep. So if you want to do something deep, we can do something deep. Or if you want to do something fun and dumb, we can do
71
something
minutes. It is an hour and 10 minutes long.
Oh, well, that's good.
So there's that. Secret Life of Pets 2. We can do that one. No. We got to do the rest of the Saw movies. I don't even know if Mike's still watching, but we got to do the rest of the Saw movies too.
Yeah, but we got to do those with Mike.
Yeah, I know. So what do you want to do? There's certainly more. That was just
I mean, Sleepwalkers is near and dear to my heart.
I haven't seen Sleepwalkers in a very long time. We could do that if you want.
Because if I'm going off
in
the idea of watching Twin Peaks, we could do Fire Walk with Me at some point.
We could, which I've never watched the show, so am I going to understand it?
No, but it's... I hesitate to suggest it, even though the movie takes place technically before the show.
Yeah.
It reveals a lot of the stuff that the show builds to reveal.
I started to watch it. I didn't have the attention span to finish Twin Peaks.
Oh God, so, it gets tough in that second season.
Right, and I was about halfway through the first, and I didn't. Yeah, so yeah. But
no, because of my Twin Peaks love, there are 2 movies I could think of in a horror movie span that would work. Because Match Dynamic is in Sleepwalkers, and goddamn lovely, and The People Under the Stairs is the other side of it.
Yep.
Which not only works for my love of Twin Peaks, but also works for my love of My So-Called Life.
Phil says that you can watch all of Twin Peaks and still have no idea what's going on.
That's true.
That's what I've heard. So what the fuck are we watching? Phil, I know you're still paying attention. Beat, you might still be there. Of the movies we mentioned, what do you want us to do? I like when other people make decisions for me. I'm going to continue to guzzle this beer while you decide.
It's like a ventriloquism. I'll drink, you decide. Oh, shit.
Fucking Prophecy.
Beatmaster, you son of a bitch.
What the fuck is that?
The Prophecy?
Yeah.
Yeah, Christopher Walken. A series of movies with Christopher Walken.
Well, we're not a goddamn series of movies. I saw People Under the Stairs in the theater, and I remember loving them, just how weird it was.
Is Eric Stoltz in their first one? I feel like that is, if I remember correctly. And also
Still, no one has made a decision for us. Someone make a decision. Someone make a goddamn decision.
Viggo Mortensen. Wow, shit, that's a long time ago. I mean, Beat's decision is The Prophecy.
Yeah, but Phil's is also The People Under the Stairs. All right, Prophecy. Phil has agreed. The Prophecy. Oh, god damn, I'm dying on the inside. The Prophecy. 95?
Yeah.
Just the first one?
We can start with the first one and then see how far you want to go into the series.
Sweet
I mean, you've never
Christ,
made it
there's
to
like
Critters 2.
4 of them.
And I really like Critters 2.
And it has nothing to do with the fact that I don't want to watch Critters 2 through 7. It's just
4.
that...
It's just 4. And then the TV series now.
I'm just fucking with you.
Whatever
It's just
they're
that
doing
there's so much other stuff to watch. Although, did you hear about the Dish TV thing that they have going on?
Yeah, if you watch what 13 Stephen King movie,
you have to apply for it, and then you
Right.
have to be chosen. So I applied for it.
because you have the Dish.
No, I don't, that's not a make or break.
Oh, okay.
But I think they're going to give priority to people with Dish because they're giving you the 13 movies.
All right.
So they're going to give them to you through Dish. So I'm certain I'm out, but I still fucking applied.
I mean, if you don't get picked up, we could just do the 13 movies.
Dude, they want you to do the 13 movies between October 22nd and 31st.
Yeah, but I mean, even if it doesn't happen for you and you don't wind up watching we could do a review of the 13 movies. We could just like spend a couple months doing.
Right, which I'm totally down for. Or the 13, or of the 13, the movies that we actually want to watch or haven't watched. Because there are a couple. Give me a second here. I've had Creeds with Arm Wide Open stuck in my head for quite a while.
So you're living your own horror film.
With Arm Wide Open. Such a good fucking song, though.
Is it?
Is it? If you're me, it is.
How drunk are you?
Enough.
I can't understand how you're disappointed in the new Korn album and you're singing Creed in your head.
It's been in my head for the entirety of the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, I got rid of the email.
Like the last 20 years that it's been out. That's kind of like having the hiccups for 15 years straight where you just want to kill yourself.
Beats right. We got to do Evil Dead at some point.
But we have to pick which Evil Dead.
All. I don't think I've ever seen 2, and it has been a long time since I've seen 3, Army of Darkness.
Evil Dead 2 is kind of like Hellraiser 2, where a lot of it is Hellraiser 1.
And that's what I've heard. It's Evil Dead 1, but funny.
It's basically, it develops its personality and where it's going to go forward with it.
So, circling back, the list of Stephen King movies are Carrie, original or the remake, Children of the Corn, Christine, Creepshow, Cujo, Dreamcatcher, It, original or the remake, 2017 remake, The Mist, Pet Sematary, original or remake, Salem's Lot, Shining, Thinner, and Misery. Christine is the only one on this list I have not seen.
You've never seen Christine?
I have not.
I think that may have been the first Stephen King movie that I ever saw.
I wish I remember the first. I think Langoliers was the first one I saw, or Tommy Knockers.
I believe it has Terry Farrell from Deep Space Nine in it. No, it doesn't, because Terry Farrell's in the movie with the guy that's from Christine, Back to School, which I actually just recently watched. So I don't know why I thought they'd be in both.
I feel like we talked about Christine because something with a car.
Yeah, it's definitely with a car.
Yeah. So Phil says that his middle son and I are doing a short series of Stephen King episodes on the BBM feed. I imagine
Brokeback Mountain.
Oh, see here, I thought it was Big Black Media.
Yeah, it's similar.
Pretty close. The Stand. So Pete, they're and I've seen The Stand, but they're redoing it, which I'm kind of excited about. The Stand reminds me of Death's Leprosy album. Wrap your brain around that one. So we've technically rated the movie. We've ended the episode. We can stop, right?
Yeah, we've decided that we're doing the prophecy next. The thing that neither of us chose was chosen for us. That's exactly what we wanted.
That's what we want.
And we've given out the email address so that other people can suggest movies that we don't want. PoT@gncast.com.
Yep. So that's going to do it for another episode of the podcast. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Stay scary, everybody.